All right, I'm going to attempt to explain this idea and hopefully not get interrupted by my kids. Okay, so what I was talking about was a list of items in Figma, and I want it to be like a dynamic or a virtual list. I don't know what the right terminology is yet, but to get this set up, and this is what I did. So one, I have this check button, which is on each of these list items, and each list item has a title text, meta text, and it has this button that can be clicked. So then I took this single list item and I put it into a group list of 8 and turned that into a component. So each of these is a component. So you can see, I don't want that, that's too big. In here, I set each of these into that you can turn it on, show it and hide it. So if I click on, here's that, so that's the component. So if I duplicate that to an instance, I can come in here and I can turn these on and off. Awesome. Now, the limitations with Figma, and I haven't found any other way to get around it, is this is the only way to create a list of items. So I have to pre-make a list with a certain number of instances, and then I can insert that into whatever the container is, the parent container for that. So I made this component for list container, which is the parent group, and I stuck in just a instance slot right here. So the instance slot, you can see it right here. I've given it values already for this just dummy slot, and then this component list of items. So that's easy to add. The only other way is if there's 2 ways. One, you make a parent container and you put however many slots are available, and then you can add stuff or remove it. So in this case, I would have to create 8 different slots specifically for list items, that kind of thing. So in this one, I chose to do this way, which I think is always better. So this is the way it works right now. So I have a parent group that can take an instance.
Them all.
Step up, please. I can swap this instance for that list of items right here. And so here's parent group. Here's parent group list container. Okay, yeah, that's right. I named them kind of different things. So there's that instance, and then I can hop into this and I can show and hide based on how many I need, and then I can click into that and I can rename or change the title text and the meta text if I want to. And then of course, if I run this whole frame, I can see the interactivity aspect of it. I don't know why that's not showing on that one, but there we go. So I can turn that button on and off. Okay, so that's how it works right now. And this is what it looks like in the properties panel when you select that component, that list component. So list of items, I'm only showing up to number 5. Of course, I could turn off number 3, doesn't really matter. But I have to name them something. Okay, so here's my idea. Basically, so with this method, there's a limit to how many items can be in this list. And right now it's 8. So I can turn on and off 8. So there's a limit to how many items, and it maxes it out at 8. And I have to manage all of these instances very specifically here. So this is kind of like my idea of a dynamic way to handle lists that repeat the same component many, many times. And sometimes you don't, like, it could be a minimum of 1 or 2 or a maximum of 6, 8, 10, 12, 20. And how do we handle that? So this uses that same list item component, and I put it in just a different component list that I call dynamic list of items. And for this, I want to, it could have parameters as well. And so in this instance, I'm saying parameters are minimum number of 3, maximum number of 6. And this definitely probably isn't the way to organize it in the end, but I think this is the best way I was thinking of it so far. So for right now, there's only 3 because that's the minimum, and I can pull it. I can put that into a container or on a page, anything really. In this instance, it's going into this parent group, just like the other one. I can see this that dynamic list of items component is in here, and this is what it looks like right now with the current existing Figma, but this is not what it would look like with this dynamic concept. Because right now I'm still using that discrete list of 8, but this is what the side panel would kind of look like, I think. So here's my dynamic list of items component, and if I clicked on it, this would be the side panel that I see, where that would be dynamic list of items or whatever it's called. Parameters, I can set that to minimum 3, maximum 6, and then I have that list of instances right here, and I can add more, or I could remove them, or I could click and drag them to rearrange them. And that way you could easily, I guess I don't even have to set the params over here like I did, just mentioning it at this spot. That could be on a per use case. So if I'm on mobile or something, then I could set it to min 3 and max 6, and if I'm on desktop, I could set it to min 3 and max 12. So by doing this, it would it would be a lot more like development, and that's what I think we're always going for, at least the way I think about it in design. And how can we make this more dynamic, closer to how dev works? In the end, you could end up feeding this an API or a data set, and it just automatically creates however many is in the list based on your params. But this is what I'm thinking. I think it would need to be cleaned up a good bit, but this is the concept of how to a better way. All right, so I hope that made sense. If there's any questions, just let me know.